Parker Schnabel, once the unstoppable force behind Gold Rush and the youngest miner to ever extract millions from the Yukon, now finds himself behind prison bars. After a shocking verdict in one of the most devastating environmental cases in mining history, he's been sentenced to life imprisonment with no parole. How did this mining prodigy, who once commanded vast operations, end up in such a dire situation? Was it reckless ambition or something far more sinister? Parker's rise to fame has now come crashing down, with his future uncertain and his legacy in ruins. This is the same Parker who used his college savings to launch a mining career, who struck over $13 million worth of gold before he was 25, and who turned gritty mining into TV gold. In season 14 alone, his team brought in $24 million. But now his $16 million in earnings from this season are frozen, his Dominion Creek operations are under investigation, and fans are left asking, how did a mining legend fall so far? Heading into season 15, Parker had one goal: 10,000 ounces of gold, worth over $26 million. To hit it, he had to move fast. He spent $2.5 million on two high-risk, high-reward claims, Gold Run and Sulphur Creek, some of the richest yet most unstable grounds in the Klondike. To maximize production, he ordered a record-breaking 25-mile haul to move his biggest wash plant, Bob, giving his team just 10 hours. At first, the gamble paid off. Within days, Bob pulled nearly $766,000 in gold, and combined with Roxanne's output, they surpassed 6,000 ounces. But behind the scenes, trouble loomed. Big Red, his most reliable plant, finally failed after 12 seasons. Worse, legal challenges were mounting. Parker had bypassed environmental protocols in a rushed land deal to expand operations. And when his team broke ground at Sulphur Creek, regulators took notice. One decision changed everything. Questions began swirling about missing permits, the disruption of a protected waterway, and the discovery of buried fuel tanks on site. There were no straightforward answers. The earliest signs of trouble were subtle: a postponed inspection, an unannounced visit from environmental authorities. But the red flags were already being raised. As Parker Schnabel ramped up his mining operations, running around the clock and hauling massive loads of gravel through ecologically sensitive zones, those flags turned into formal subpoenas. Then came the real shocker: federal charges. Parker was accused of serious environmental violations, not minor slip-ups, but large-scale breaches. These included illegal dredging, disturbing federally protected streams, and neglecting proper waste disposal protocols. All of it traced back to the high-stakes $2.5 million land deal. Investigators dug deeper and uncovered even more. Paperwork was missing. Permits appeared to have been overridden. Most damning of all, inspection reports were allegedly falsified, with subcontractors' names forged under Parker's supervision. Suddenly, the focus of Gold Rush wasn't on ounces of gold. It was on mounting evidence. Prosecutors claimed Parker had knowingly crossed the line in pursuit of his 10,000-ounce goal. He cut corners, ignored multiple warnings, and endangered both the environment and public safety. In court, the numbers were hard to ignore: 68 documented violations, over $3.1 million in unapproved site changes, toxic soil contamination, and more than 8,000 gallons of missing hydraulic fluid. Parker's legal team argued it was all a misunderstanding, blaming subcontractors and bureaucratic delays. But emails shown in court painted a different picture. Messages where Parker urged his crew to ignore regulatory interference and push production nonstop. Then a former crew member came forward, alleging Parker had been warned repeatedly about legal risks and chose to proceed anyway. The case shifted from blame to intent. Prosecutors called it a pattern of deliberate disregard for environmental law. When obstruction charges were added, Parker's downfall became unavoidable. The court found his actions met the highest standard of environmental harm. But strangely, there was no public arrest, no mugshot, no official statement. Parker vanished from the public eye quietly. Rumors swirled. Was he negotiating restitution? In hiding? No one knew. This was the same Parker who made $24 million in one season, who lived modestly despite his wealth. Now he had disappeared, leaving behind silence, speculation, and the shattered remains of a once legendary mining legacy. It was never about the money for Parker. It was about loyalty, hard work, and honoring the legacy of those who came before him. His values were rooted in his family's rugged history. His great-grandfather carved out a life in the Alaskan wilderness, and his grandmother joined him in 1937. His father still rises at 4:30 a.m. to this day to work. Parker grew up in a world where perseverance was non-negotiable, where people worked through pain and refused to quit. That upbringing shaped who he was and made his fall all the more difficult to witness. Parker once spent an entire summer working side by side with his grandfather, sharing meals and listening to stories that stretched across generations. That memory meant more to him than gold ever could. For Parker, legacy always outweighed wealth. Season 15 was supposed to be his defining moment, a comeback where he would break records with a 10,000-ounce haul. Instead, it unraveled into disaster. Equipment failures, permit issues, legal troubles, all hit at once. He tried to push through with grit and focus, but it wasn't enough. The pressure mounted and cracks started to show. At the heart of the chaos was Dominion Creek, his boldest gamble. Unlike his previous ventures, Parker bought the land outright for $15 million, taking on full responsibility and risk. The gold was buried deep, over 40 feet down, and extracting it required millions more in equipment, labor, and fuel. The potential reward was massive, 80,000 ounces of gold, worth roughly $160 million. But he only had 6 years on his water permits. Parker went all in. His team moved over 25 million bank yards of material, aiming for 4 million yards each season. That kind of workload demanded everything from everyone. Tyson Lee, Mitch Blaschke, and the rest of the crew were constantly under pressure. Every delay cost money. Every misstep risked everything. But Parker stayed true to his nature. He didn't shrink his operation. He expanded, locking in deals like the one with Metallic Minerals for rights to mine Australia Creek. Parker's empire grew fast, but so did the stakes. With $200 million on the line, the margin for error vanished. Every breakdown, delay, or missed target carried weight. Tensions began to ripple through Parker Schnabel's relationships during that pivotal season. He barely crossed paths with Rick Ness, just 2 brief encounters all summer, one of which was a filmed sit-down over Rick's personal struggles. His interactions with Tony Beets were just as minimal, a few cordial coffees, but no serious business or conflict. Years ago, they'd clashed over permits and royalties, but now Parker had full control, his own ground, permits, and no royalty checks to cut. That independence brought fewer fights, but also more isolation. As the pressure at Dominion Creek ramped up, Parker had little outside support. While fully focused on operations, he also juggled public commitments, closing deals with Metallic Minerals and overseeing a 400-hole drilling program. In 2022, he received the Yukon government's Robert E. Leckie Award for Environmental Stewardship, just 2 years before legal issues would cloud his work. Off the clock, Parker remained grounded. No lavish homes or luxury cars. He couch-surfed, split his time between LA, Mexico, and the Bahamas, and embraced rugged hobbies like snowbiking and kiteboarding. Despite earning an estimated $13 million by age 24, Parker didn't chase fame or flash. By 2024, estimates of his net worth hovered around $8 to $10 million, lower than many expected for a Discovery Channel star. Rumors once swirled that he bought a $950,000 mansion, but Parker denied it, saying he preferred crashing on friends' couches. His modest Alaska home, built in 2015, reflects that simplicity. He reinvested nearly everything, including a massive $17 million gamble on Dominion, a deep frozen ground demanding 30 million bank yards of earth to be moved over 6 years. He wasn't just mining, he was building a global gold empire. From Yukon to Brazil, Papua New Guinea to the Andes, Parker was constantly moving. He even battled altitude sickness at 16,000 feet, but kept going. His TV earnings, merch, and mining profits reportedly total $4+ million annually. And yet, money was never the goal. Parker chased legacy. He wanted to honor his grandfather, protect his crew, and prove himself. Now, with Dominion under legal review and millions frozen, fans and investors alike wonder, will he come back stronger, or has the golden run ended?